you think, oh, somebody looks different because now they have facial hair. But it also serves to hide the face. It serves to hide certain features, like the ear. Long hair will hide the ear too, and disguise the skull shape. And the beard will also make the face look rounder. Okay.
Interesting. So just let me jump in here right now, but because I was 12 years old when the Beatles came to America in 1964. So you're contemplating that he was replaced in 1966, around then, and that's when the Beatles then started getting their hair longer, right? And growing mustaches. All of them kind of went into that mode.
It was a drastic change. Now, I was born after the Beatles, but as an historian, because this is really kind of a historical event at this point, 50 years ago, I can see and it's documented. It's like the mop tops. Well, then they became more sophisticated, obviously, with their music and their politics and their social positioning, I guess you could say. And then it's like Sgt. Pepper came along, and it was like this drastic sea change of drugs. And I think that was part of social engineering. I think the band got hijacked by Tavistock Institute. I think they were being used for social engineering purposes. But you have to lay the foundation first that this person really was imposter replaced. And so my book, too, is going into more of this background and laying the foundation of like the New World Order and some of this underlying agenda of why they would want to replace somebody. But you have to remember how influential the Beatles were at that point, which, like now, I mean, even I probably don't appreciate it as much because I was born after that time. But by all accounts, they were hugely influential on everybody. So what they said was important. People listened.
Yes, a whole generation of young people, including myself. I'm a baby boomer. I was born. The baby boomer generation is anyone born between 1946 and 1964, and that was just the generation before the Beatles were famous. So obviously the baby boomers were just getting into their teenage years at the time the Beatles took America by storm. People don't necessarily, the younger folks don't necessarily know how influential and such an amazing process that was when they came over and basically took over the whole music industry and were able to kind of like manipulate the youth of America.
Well, the original Beatles were all light and love, in my opinion. But the band with Paul's replacement got hijacked and then was serving a dark agenda, in my opinion. And
you got another guest on the line.
Oh, we do? Who do we have on the line now?
Lee Strauss, of course.
Oh, my gosh. Tina, hang on for just a moment because one of our UFO I-Team members, Lee Strauss, is breaking in here. Obviously, you must have some interesting news, Lee.
I've got some incredible news. I just cannot wait to tell you.
Okay. Well, tell us what's going on, man.
So, last weekend we were up there at Baker filming, and I probably got a total of 20 hours of film and footage of night watch stuff that we did on Friday and Saturday night. And I just can't believe what I'm looking at. It's absolutely incredible. I mean, things are shooting towards the...
Let's go ahead. Do this. Let's do this, Lee. Let's lay the foundation here of what the heck happened last weekend for the listening audience. The UFO I-Team was up at Mount Baker, Washington, in the northern Cascades of Washington State, filming a pitch pilot episode for the reality TV show, the UFO I-Team. And you, as our basic camera guy with the crew, were doing skywatch photography at the time we were doing the filming with Michael Beers as the videographer for this thing. So I just wanted to set the stage there that you are our traditional videographer for the skywatches that we do.
Yes, and that's just because I have that equipment. I've got the Gen 3 Plus night vision cameras, and I also use some time-lapse photography as well to catch our footage.
Yeah.
So and let me just start.
You've been doing this for years, and you're saying that there's something new and exciting that just happened last weekend.
Yes. I have never seen this before. I don't know how to explain it, but I'm just going to try to lay it out there the best I can. Okay. We've been going up to Baker for years now, filming, looking at the sky, just because it's such an interesting place. And these UFOs seem to congregate around volcanoes. We've seen this stuff at Mount Adams, but nothing like this. This is totally new, exciting. So I'm just too excited here. But what I have noticed over the 6+ hours of film that I've already gone through is that anytime there's a shooting star in the sky, it's going down towards Mount Baker, to the mountain itself.
You mean, this is not... So in other words, you're saying something that looks like a shooting star but doesn't burn out and goes right towards Mount Baker and keeps going, or just stops, or
okay.
How do you mean?
Well, I know that the Leonids are starting up, but this comes from all different directions, not just from the east, like the Leonids, how they pass through the sky this time of year. This is beyond that. This is objects coming from the sky down towards Baker in all different directions. We're talking about the north, the east, the south, and the west directions to Mount Baker. So these things are coming from everywhere. I have caught right now, over the 6 hours that I've looked at, I'm at like 15 objects that shoot down towards Mount Baker. And we're not just talking like a little light in the sky that shoots down. No, these are major flare-ups that actually come down towards the mountain. They look like they're the size of, like a 3-story building. I mean, they're big. I mean, they're super bright in the sky. They come down towards Mount Baker, and they disappear right before they hit the mountain.
So
it's incredible.
You actually saying that they disappear from your view or on the film before they hit the mountain, or did he just go right past the mountain or into the mountain?
It looks like to me like they're phasing out right before they hit the mountain.
Oh.
So they're bright in the sky, and they come down, and then they phase out and right before they hit the mountain. So, I don't know what this is. I've never seen it before. I did catch a couple other anomalous craft-like objects going towards Mount Baker faster than some of the planes that were in the sky at the time. But as far as what only looked like to me like meteorites or possible supersonic craft going into the mountain, and they're not all going at the same speed. Some are a little bit slower than others, but they're in the general area, of speed. So maybe a difference of a couple 100 miles per hour, But
yeah,
it's absolutely incredible. I've never seen anything like it. I don't know what to think about it. Gonna have to put a montage together of all of these objects shooting down. I mean, there's nothing else going on in the sky. There's a couple planes, maybe a satellite or two, but there is no other meteorites or shooting stars going through the sky at the time. Everything that comes up, shows up, goes right down to the mountain. Every single one.
Well, and I know that you have this really interesting theory. It's actually a scientific theory about what Mount Baker, Mount Adams, what these giant mountains do to attract something like this. You want to explain that?
Okay, so I have an idea that maybe there's the magma chamber underneath the volcano. And so as the Earth spins, of course, you get yetis and so forth, like you would have in a river. And sometimes even like a tidal pool action, maybe underneath these volcanoes that create a magnetic field, right? So it could be that a very strong magnetic field could be attracting things from space to that area. It's possible, but I'm not sure. Or is something coming there or going there because there's an underground base? I don't know what the answers are. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm casting seeds in the wind and see which one works for people.
Yes.
I have no idea, and I'm hoping that there's other people out there that might have ideas about what's going on.
And or footage themselves that might mimic what you're seeing at this current time.
Yes, exactly.
Now let's just think about this logically. That if indeed the idea is that the magma chambers and the magnetic effects of volcanoes like Mount Baker are attracting just normal celestial, things
debris.
like fireballs and debris and, meteorites, you would think that those mountains would be attracting huge forest fires and be burned off very often because of the attraction, and that does not seem to be the case, obviously.
Well, like I said before, I filmed at Mount Adams. I filmed at Mount Baker. I filmed at Mount Rainier. I filmed lots of different places. I have never seen this kind of activity before. So this is all new. Is it coincide with what's going on with these big booms under the ground right now? Does it coincide with all the volcanoes that are going off right now? I mean, is there a correlation here? I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Well, and Peter Davenport, I don't know if you heard him on the line previously, was mentioning that he has never seen such activity as far as UFO reports and the seriousness and detail-oriented UFO reports that he's seen. He saw, as you might have heard, there's this report that says there were these two tall, thin aliens dressed in silver suits walking down the side of the road just in Newburgh, Oregon last couple days.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's just incredible.
We got to get back to Tina here in just a moment, but I'll tell you what, there's one other thing I wanted to mention, because when we were up there filming the UFO I-Team production, you were actually doing normal skywatch activity as well with your cameras, and you told me that there was other things you were catching at the time.
Yeah, I caught some craft in the sky that I can't explain. I'm going to call them craft because I don't know what else to call them. They're not satellites. They weren't space station. We use an app, so we can pretty much track all of that stuff. The stuff that I caught up there was definitely beyond par with anything that I've ever done. And this was only 2 nights. This is only 2 nights. It is crazy. I can't express to you guys enough how strange and unnatural this kind of activity is.
Yeah. Well, with your experience, you would know for sure. Now, listen, we just got to go back to the interview here, but tell us, are we going to be able to put this montage evidence up on UFO I-Team on Facebook page? How will people be able to see what you're talking about?
Once I get it all put together, next week sometime, I should have it done, hopefully before next weekend or this coming weekend. I should have that done, and it'll be up on our YouTube page, UFO I-Team YouTube page, and it'll also have a link to I'm sure it'll have a link to on our website and to the Facebook page. So it'll be spread across all 3.
Well, what we need to do, Lee, is if you would be available next, actually Saturday night is my showtime being switched to Saturday night from 7 to 10 p.m. maybe you come back on and give us an update of what's going on when you finally get through all the footage.
Yeah, you got it. I mean,